¿Qué tal, comunidad? Aquí habla su abogado Ray Ibarra Maldonado. DACA decision is out. The Supreme Court has issued the DACA decision. If you could do me a huge favor, let's get the ball rolling. Give me a like, give us a share. We know there's a lot of people that are interested in this issue, and they want to know, what does the Supreme Court say today? And what are they talking about for the future of DACA? So please start off with that like and the share. Let's get people in the know. We're going to, as always, go right into the decision, right? We'll get you at the heart of it, of what's going on and what it means. So let's do this. This is fresh off the presses right here. Supreme Court decision. Who's pumped up this morning? Who's feeling good? Who's feeling great? This guy right here. And hopefully a lot of DACA recipients and their families and loved ones as well. Always love to be wrong. When it's something like this that I've been saying for so long, it's going to come down 5-4 against us. I will eat my words and enjoy it because it came down 5-4 for us on behalf of the DACA recipients. It is a great victory when we were expecting nothing. And some people might be saying, oh, well, you know what? You're being too excited, attorney. You know, they said that they can take the case back. Let's start. Let's go slow. And now I'm going to explain to you why I'm so pumped up and why I'm so excited, okay? So we have here the decision. When you're reading a Supreme Court decision, it starts with the syllabus. The syllabus here confused the heck out of me. So go straight to the decision here. Here we have the highlighted parts. For the reasons that follow, we conclude that the acting secretary did violate the APA and that the rescission must be vacated. In plain English, we conclude, Trump, your decision was arbitrary and capricious. Basically, your decision was stupid. And we're going to rescind or take away your canceling of the DACA program. In this case, they upheld the NAACP case down below. That was the case, if you remember, that gave, even said Trump, we don't believe your decision was sound. It's arbitrary and capricious. So I'm going to give you another 90 days to tell me why that decision was not arbitrary and capricious. And that court reviewed the memorandum from the new secretary and still held, you know what, it is arbitrary and capricious. That decision today was upheld by the United States Supreme Court, and they are remanding the case. So yes, is there a reason to be cautious? Is there a reason to not fully, wholly celebrate? Well, yes, because the posture of the case was not, is DACA legal or not? The case was the manner in which Trump terminated the DACA process, did they comply with the law? So for an administration that always says, we're breaking the law, the question really is, did Trump break the law in the manner in which he rescinded the program? And the Supreme Court, in we'll call it a 5-4 decision, for simplicity's sake, there's a lot of join this part, join that part, join that dissent, join, the negative part of the decision is that they found that the equal protection claim was not upheld. So that's essentially saying it was a racist decision to take away DACA. The Supreme Court said, no, we're going to take that one head on. No, it was not. But the other argument, because there was two things that were arguing, the APA, Administrative Procedures Act, they came out clearly and hit Trump in the face and said, you absolutely violated the APA. Your decision was arbitrary and capricious. We're going to send it back. All right. So I got some of the parts highlighted here that I also wanted to say. An agency must defend its actions based on the reasons it gave when it acted. This is not the case for cutting corners to allow DHS to rely upon reasons absent from its original decision. That's one of the slaps in the face right there. And see, Belem, go ahead and throw the questions on in here, folks. Renewals will be accepted, or AP. Sorry if you already answered. No problem. No, the renewals keep going. Keep sending them off. What the decision was today was essentially affirming the NAACP decision, which pretty much said you have to keep accepting renewals. No new applicants in the program, no advanced parole, but anybody that has the program can continue to renew. All right. So getting back to the decision here, thus removing benefits eligibility while continuing forbearance remains squarely within discretion of Acting Secretary Duke, who was responsible, and Duke's memo offers no reason for terminating forbearance. This was a mind-blowing part of the case here, ladies and gentlemen. The Supreme Court went into the decision to rescind DACA, and they said, okay, your argument to rescind DACA and take away the work permit, we're kind of conceding that. They're kind of saying that's a benefit, right? So we have to go back and look at DACA. DACA is a promise to not be deported and a work permit for 2 years. What the Supreme Court said here, in your decision, you're focusing on the benefit of giving a work permit, and your decision to rescind the program is all about your thinking it's illegal to give a work permit. Well, Mr. Trump and secretaries, you did not take into consideration the main part of DACA, which is, again, deferred action for childhood arrivals, deferred action, the promise to not deport. So Supreme Court seems to be implying here, look at, there's nothing illegal for the Department of Homeland Security to say these group of people who arrived before 16, who've been present since 2007, no significant no felonies, no significant misdemeanors, etc., they have the right to not be deported. Anybody that fits that category, we're not going to deport them. The memo of rescinding DACA did not take that into consideration, that there's two separate rights. So what they're remanding for, and this is the main one that Trump administration is going to have to take head on, is if it's pretty clear that you're legally entitled to continue the DACA program as far as forbearance, promise to not deport, but you can take away work authorization, you're going to have to issue another memorandum. Basically, you're going to have to again publicly say and argue to these district courts across the country that DACA recipients not only should have their work permit taken away and give better reasons and explanation for that, you're also going to have to make the more difficult argument, because it's pretty clear that it is legal, you can defer action and choose to not deport people, why you want to take that protection away as well. So what we could see happening here is that the case gets remanded, the Trump administration again tries to come up with a better rationale for taking away the work permit authorizations, but then I think they're going to hit a roadblock. How do you argue that the commitment to not be deported as well is illegal? Because if that's your main argument, that it's illegal, and it's pretty clear that you do have the authority to defer action and not deport people, what are you going to say about that? So that was the main argument. That was the home run. That was like, bam, right in the face, Trump, at you. The second argument that was very strong was that there was a lack of accountability from the Trump administration in the reliance on the DACA program, right? So let me see if I can find some language on that. Here. That omission alone renders Acting Secretary Duke's decision arbitrary and capricious. When an agency changes course, as DHS did here, it must be cognizant that longstanding policies may have engendered serious reliance interests that must be taken into account. Right? It was required to assess whether there were reliance interests, determine whether they were significant, and weigh any such interest against competing policy concerns. So again, the Supreme Court here is saying, we're giving you a chance to go back, but you didn't take fully into account the reliance of DACA recipients in their work permit to go and study, to buy a house, be part of the community, and the process of canceling the program most certainly did not take any of that into consideration whatsoever. All right, so let's go ahead and jumping on right here. Right now, a quick recap. Supreme Court decides 100% against Trump in what we'll call a 5-4 decision, that he was arbitrary and capricious in the manner in which he ended the DACA program, that they did not significantly take into account the reliance interest, and that they completely missed the argument that they could do forbearance without the benefit of a work permit, and the remanding to the lower court to have to make a pretty embarrassing argument publicly, Trump, that you want DACA recipients not only not have a work permit, but you want them to be deported. So we've really throwing the gamut down there. Let's get to some questions now, ladies and gentlemen, before I switch to Espanol. See what folks are saying. Salud, Ivan, gracias. We got that one already. How often do courts rule on agency actions arbitrary and capricious these days? Can you explain how colossal that is? Absolutely. I mean, the legal issue here of a court saying that an agency decision essentially was arbitrary capricious, that just means your decision making was so erroneous. It so lacked a foundation in the truth, essentially calling you a liar. Like, you're lying. You terminated this for other reasons, which we all know why. Why did Trump do it? Because he wanted his wall. He wants to get rid of the parent category, the brother and sister category. So he wants to use DACA recipients as a bargaining chip, which is the real reason why DACA was canceled. Supreme Court doesn't come out and say that. That's my analysis, all right? Supreme Court remains very legal, very proper, arbitrary and capricious. You did not look at these decisions. You're not taking into consideration these factors. So the manner in which you did it was arbitrary and capricious, all right? New applications, unfortunately not. Sandra, the same remains. The Supreme Court basically said the lower court decision in the NAACP case of allowing renewals remains in place, but no new applications, no advance parole. Let's get some more comments in here, folks. Thanks again. Please give us a share, like, and get your questions here. The dispute before the court is not whether DHS may rescind DACA. All parties agree that it may. Dispute is the primary procedure. So, yeah, 100%, Arturo, 100%. This was not a case about is DACA legal or is DACA illegal. The question was, did the Trump administration follow the law? Did they do it the right way to rescind the program? But in reading the decision, it's so much more than that. I mean, they're coming out and basically saying in black and white here, we're going to get another 5-4 decision against you, Trump, if you take away the protection of promising not to deport people, unless you want to come out and give a reason, purely on policy that you don't like DACA recipients or something. Then we go back in the equal protection world. So it's really a great decision, leaving open the possibility of more things good and bad to happen in the future. But for now, DACA remains for those that are in the program. Se puede meter también, perdón, pero yo pienso que todavía nada más si está adentro del programa puede seguir mientras que peleamos el caso. And same advance parole, sorry about that. Still think that that's off. I'll go back and read NAACP again. That's the decision they affirmed. But from what I remember, it was the traditional, anybody that's in the program can renew. No new applications, but again, I'll read that one right after this and do another video if I'm wrong about that. And Luis says the same thing. Thank you, Luis. Hope everything's well up in Flagstaff. And Dalila asked about advance parole. So again, I'll go back and read the NAACP case and make sure that is not in there, but I don't believe that it was. But again, I was wrong before. I'd love to be wrong again. So wonderful, wonderful decision. Keep dropping your questions down below. Ya voy a hacerlo en español también, como siempre. Hoy anunció el Corte Suprema la sesión de DACA, una victoria muy grande por nuestra comunidad, una decisión que yo no pensaba íbamos a recibir. Yo pensaba que iba a ser 5 jueces en contra 4 en contra de nosotros. Fue 5 jueces para nosotros, 4 en contra de nosotros, pero una decisión a nuestro favor diciendo que Trump, imagine eso, Trump, usted violó la ley en la manera que usted canceló la programa. Su decisión es lo que se llama arbitrary and capricious, significa que usted no explicó bien su decisión cuando cambió la decisión y por esa razón debe regresar el caso a los cortes donde empezó todos los casos para que pueda hacer más argumentos. Normalmente ahí yo iba a estar muy triste, enojado, dice, nada más está extendiendo más la programa para que lo mate un día en el futuro. Pero el bueno aquí es leyendo la sesión de la Corte Suprema, adentro está cosas muy, muy a nuestro favor. Una de las cosas está haciendo la programa de DACA. tiene que tener el beneficio de un permiso de trabajo y también la promesa de no ser deportado. Primero, el beneficio. Básicamente está diciendo el Corte Suprema, a lo mejor tiene argumento válido ahí Trump, que legalmente no puede dar permiso de trabajo. No dicen eso claramente, pero están diciendo así como, posiblemente. Pero dijen bien claro ahí, enfoquen mucho, que Trump no enfocó nada en el otro beneficio de DACA, que es no ser deportado por cierto tiempo. No hay nada en la ley que dice que es ilegal por el Departamento de Seguridad Nacional a decir esas personas que llegó a menos 16, de aquí desde 2007, menos 31 años cuando aplicó, no podían seguir con la protección de no ser deportado, aunque si usted quiere quitar el permiso de trabajo. Entonces lo mandó para atrás al corte de principios, cortes de distrito, a hacer determinación para hacer otra vez Trump la oportunidad a explicar si él quiere de nuevo, ok, ya le voy a cambiar el programa, aquí están las personas más mejores y aquí es la razón por qué yo voy a también quitar el promesa de no ser deportados. Y también dijo muy claramente el Corte Suprema, Trump, usted no enfocó suficiente en las cosas que los recipientes de DACA están haciendo basado en el programa que tenía. Comprando casas, estudiando, teniendo niños aquí, todo eso que ellos hicieron porque el gobierno dio la promesa de seguir aquí en el país sin miedo a ser deportado. A lo mejor la manera que usted no canceló el programa no dio suficiente tiempo para que ellos arreglen sus cosas, terminar sus carreras, hagan lo que tienen que hacer para cambiar las vidas con este cambio que usted lo está poniendo. So, una chance muy grande para nosotros a seguir peleando en cortes de distritos con nuevos argumentos más fuertes, que Trump no puede quitar promesa de no deportar a la gente y también que debe dar más tiempo para terminar el programa si él quiere seguir. Ya tenemos que ver si él tiene el apoyo político para seguir usando los recursos y poniendo argumentos nuevos de por qué debe terminar el programa. Con oportunidades más, yo pienso por años, no estoy diciendo la palabra meses, pero por años, que sigue el programa de DACA, mientras que está peleando otra vez Corte de Distrito, Corte de Apelaciones, Corte Suprema, con todo con el COVID ahorita, está más lento los cortes, so es muy posible que no tenemos algo definitivo por muchos años en este caso, que parte de mí es triste también, porque obvio, lo que necesitamos es un arreglo completamente, un Dream Act justo para que ya tenemos que olvidar de esos cortes, de esperar decisiones de jueces, argumentos de abogados y nada más darle ya lo que ellos merezcan, es camino a la ciudadanía. So, ojalá seguimos apoyando eso. Yo sí estoy feliz con la decisión hoy, pero no quiere que para la necesidad de seguir a los senadores, a los congresistas y decirle, ustedes tienen derecho de ya parar todo eso, de ya no vivimos en ansiedad, ya no vivimos en miedo, que ya pase el Dream Act por allá, creo que es HB 6 ahí en el Congreso, pásalo, el Senado pásalo, el Trump fírmalo, para que ya no más tenemos que esperar qué dice este corte, para que ya no tenemos que hacer más live sobre cortes, ¿verdad? Hacemos un live de pasó una nueva ley y todos que están elegibles. Es lo que queremos hacer aquí, es lo que quiero dar a ustedes, esa información. No nada más de decir, ay, qué bueno, ganamos, sigue el programa. No, ganamos tiempo para seguir batallando por un Dream Act justo, ¿ok? Si más comments tenemos aquí. Ya mira, ahora puede aplicar a alguien que no aplicó cuando empezó DACA. Desafortunadamente, ok, yo pienso que no. So here's a good question here. Francisco, what's the likelihood of Trump us doing a new executive order to end DACA or to argue back in the case decision? What's the possible time frame? That's a tough one because he's coming up for election and the DACA recipients have so much support with the voters, both Democrats and Republicans? Is he going to issue a new decision that says, I want to keep using resources to go after these individuals, to not only take away their work permit, but I'm also going to write a very big memo explaining why they shouldn't have the protection to not be deported? I think it's possible, given the election year, that we see him take no action on it, that we see him just say, you know what, we got bigger things to focus on, so we're going to go do this, and whatever he's going to say to detract from the fact that the Supreme Court's calling him out and saying, you really want to end this program? Then give us some reasons that you're doing it that are other than we think it's illegal, and specifically tell us why you think you should take away the promise for them not to be deported, and specifically tell us why you think winding down the program with only letting the work permit terminate one time is sufficient notice, given all of their reliance interest on their participation in the DACA program. So timeline, I see DACA being around for a few more years, minimum. Maybe even the promise to not, again, we have to separate it, the benefit of the work permit versus the promise to not be deported, which I know a lot of great organizations are going to start working on forming your own LLC, do consulting work. And for any press that are watching, there'll be a press conference at 9:30, Department of Homeland Security, ICE, 2035 North Central at 9:30, Nueve y Media, 2035 North Central. DACA groups will be out there to give their opinion on this decision today, and I'll be out there with them as well. So I think that, years. I think we're talking about years. He could come out with a reason today or tomorrow if he wanted to, but guess what? It has to be reviewed by the court again. The district courts across the country are really slow right now, given COVID. Give the chance for the other parties to brief it, set an oral argument. This is one of those court hearings that's going to go back to day one, essentially, where it could take years to work its way back up to the Supreme Court again, if that's what they want to do. All right? And absolutely, this is it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We need something permanent, once and for all. We need people to be realizing, hey, enough of this waiting for a decision, enough of this. Maybe we'll get a promise not to be deported, but they'll take away work permit in 2 or 3 years. We need a permanent solution, independent of Republican, Democrats, that just says, here's the bill, pass it, let's get this over with. Let's move on with more important things in life, right? Okay, so that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go read the NAACP decision, and I'll be back on it if there's anything different with the advanced paroles, new applications, all that good stuff, because that was clearly the one the U.S. Supreme Court said they were affirming. So we will base off of that. Thanks so much, folks, and we'll see you soon.